Blades Modified, Harley-Davidson from the Vampire Hunter trilogy, wasn't just Wesley Snipes' ride through the supernatural underworld. It was a heavily weaponized killing machine disguised as a motorcycle, featuring custom modifications that made it one of the most recognizable comic book vehicles ever filmed. The bike represented Blade's dual nature, sleek and powerful on the surface, yet concealing deadly weapons beneath its black chrome finish. But why did production destroy 11 motorcycles across 3 films, when most superhero movies preserve their hero vehicles? How did Wesley Snipes' motorcycle accident during filming change Hollywood's insurance policies forever? And what made this particular Harley worth less at auction than replica bikes fans built in their garages? These are 20 weird facts about Blade's modified Harley-Davidson that will blow your mind. Number 20. The Buell Lightning Deception. Blade's Harley-Davidson wasn't actually a Harley at all, but rather a Buell X1 Lightning, a performance-oriented bike Harley owned, but marketed separately to avoid association with sport bikes. This choice was deliberate misdirection by production designer Kirk Pietrzelli, who wanted a bike that looked aggressive and modern while maintaining Harley's brand cachet. Buell motorcycles used Harley engines and lightweight sport frames, creating performance that traditional Harleys couldn't match. The X1 Lightning featured a 103 cubic inch V-twin engine mounted in a radical single-sided swing-arm chassis. It weighed 470 pounds, significantly lighter than cruiser-style Harleys. The aggressive riding position and angular bodywork looked menacing, perfect for a vampire hunter. Harley-Davidson technically owned Buell from 1998 through 2009, allowing production to claim Harley-Davidson in promotional materials while actually using the sportier Buell. Most audiences never noticed the distinction. Harley enthusiasts immediately recognized the Buell, but understood that the choice traditional Harleys would look ridiculous in Blade's high-speed action sequences. The deception worked perfectly for marketing. New Line Cinema promoted Blade's Harley-Davidson, even though the actual motorcycle was a Buell, giving them Harley-Davidson's brand recognition without the performance limitations. Buell owners loved the exposure, hoping Blade would boost their brand's visibility. Ironically, Harley-Davidson shut down Buell completely in 2009, making Blade's bike an artifact of a defunct company. Number 19. Wesley Snipes' riding background. Wesley Snipes was an experienced motorcycle rider before Blade, having owned bikes for years, and specifically requesting the role includes significant riding sequences. Unlike many actors who fake motorcycle expertise, Snipes genuinely understood bikes and could ride competently. He'd owned Japanese sport bikes throughout the 1990s, preferring their performance to Harley's cruiser aesthetic. When cast as Blade, Snipes pushed writer David Goyer and director Stephen Norrington to expand the motorcycle's role beyond simple transportation. Original scripts featured Blade primarily in cars. Snipes argued that a motorcycle better represented the character's solitary nature and need for maneuverability through urban environments. He prevailed, and the motorcycle became integral to Blade's identity. Snipes' riding skills allowed for more practical shots than typical productions. He could actually ride the Buell at speed, execute turns convincingly, and handle the bike's aggressive power delivery. This authenticity shows in the first film's opening sequence, where Blade arrives at the Vampire nightclub. That's actually Snipes riding, not a stunt double. His confidence on 2 wheels gave cinematographer Theo Van de Sande more creative freedom. They could film closer to the bike, use longer takes, and capture Snipes' face during riding sequences. The riding competence saved production money too, as fewer stunt doubles meant less complex shooting. Snipes' genuine motorcycle enthusiasm elevated Blade's bike from prop to character element, establishing the connection between hunter and machine. Number 18. The 11 bike destruction production destroyed 11 Buell X1.
Kind of like chilling on the ground. He's sliding, he was chilling. That's the bike. That bike's not supposed to be like that.
Lightning motorcycles across the 3 Blade films. An unprecedented destruction rate that Buell's marketing team initially celebrated before realizing the financial implications. Each Buell cost approximately $12,000, meaning New Line Cinema spent over $130,000 just replacing destroyed motorcycles. The first film consumed 4 bikes. One was wrecked during the nightclub chase when it crashed into a vendor cart at excessive speed. Another burned during a pyrotechnic malfunction that ignited the fuel tank. The third was destroyed intentionally for a crash scene. The fourth suffered frame damage from repeated jumps and was deemed unsafe. Blade 2 destroyed 3 more bikes during increasingly ambitious action sequences. Director Guillermo del Toro wanted more spectacular motorcycle stunts, pushing bikes beyond their structural limits. Blade Trinity consumed 4 additional bikes despite having less motorcycle screen time. Production had learned that having multiple bikes prevented delays, so they bought extras and used them freely. Buell initially provided bikes at a discount, viewing it as valuable product placement. After the first film's success didn't translate to significant sales increases, they charged full retail for subsequent films. The marketing team had expected Blade to boost Buell's brand awareness among younger, hipper audiences. It didn't. Fans associated the bike with the Blade character, not with the Buell brand. Replicas built by enthusiasts often use different motorcycles painted black, completely missing the Buell connection. Number 17, the weapon system fabrication.
Well, we take this, and this is going to be kind of our bookend of our shot.
The bike's retractable weapon systems were entirely non-functional props, fabricated from aluminum and fiberglass, disappointing fans who believed Blade's arsenal was mechanically real. Production designer Kirk Petricelli sketched elaborate weapon systems, retractable machine guns, stake launchers, UV light emitters, and blade storage compartments. These drawings suggested complex engineering that would actually work. Reality was far simpler. Prop master John Hardigan built cosmetic weapons that looked impressive but did nothing. The retractable guns were aluminum tubes painted to resemble barrels. They moved via simple cable mechanisms pulled by off-camera technicians. The movement was mechanical, but the weapons couldn't fire anything. Muzzle flashes were added digitally in post-production. The stake launcher was molded fiberglass, a static prop that never launched actual stakes. The UV light emitters were practical lights wired to batteries, the only functional weapon system. They could actually illuminate, though their vampire-destroying properties were pure fiction. The blade storage compartments worked mechanically, using spring-loaded releases to deploy rubber prop swords. This was the most functional system, allowing practical shots of blade-drawing weapons from the bike. The weapon fabrication cost approximately $45,000 across all bikes, expensive for non-functional props. Hardigan defended the approach, noting that functional weapons would be dangerous, illegal, and ultimately unnecessary, since camera angles and editing created the illusion of capability. Fans building replica bikes often create more functional weapon systems than the film bikes actually had. Number 16, the stunt rider's vampire.
At a 45-degree angle. Well,
Rollerblade's primary stunt rider, Jean-Pierre Goy, also played vampire characters whom Blade killed in fight sequences, creating the bizarre situation where he'd ride as Blade, then immediately change costumes to die as a vampire. Goy was a veteran French stunt performer, specializing in motorcycles and martial arts. His dual skills made him perfect for Blade's stunt work. He could ride the Buell expertly and choreograph fights convincingly. Director Stephen Norrington discovered Goy could also act adequately in non-speaking roles. Rather than hiring separate stunt riders and vampire extras, Norrington used Goy for both. In the first film's nightclub sequence, Goy rides the Buell as Blade, then appears minutes later as a vampire Blade decapitates. The production saved money while creating an inside joke among the crew, who watched Goy killing himself repeatedly. Goy found the dual roles amusing but exhausting. He'd film dangerous motorcycle stunts requiring complete concentration, then immediately switch to vampire makeup and choreograph his own death scenes. The makeup transformation took 90 minutes, limiting how many times per day he could switch between roles. Continuity supervisors had to carefully track which scenes featured Goy as Blade versus Goy as a vampire, ensuring he never appeared fighting himself. One sequence in Blade 2 nearly made this mistake, with Goy scheduled to ride as Blade and die as a vampire in the same continuous shot. The sequence was redesigned to use different stunt performers. Goy appeared in all 3 Blade films in multiple capacities, making him possibly the most killed vampire in the trilogy. Number 15. The insurance policy change. Wesley Snipes suffered a serious motorcycle accident during Blade 2, filming that changed Hollywood insurance policies industry-wide, establishing new restrictions on leading actors performing motorcycle stunts. The accident occurred during a chase sequence in Prague. Snipes was riding the Buell at moderate speed through a narrow alley when a stunt car's timing was off. The car pulled out too early, forcing Snipes to brake hard and swerve. The Buell's front wheel hit a raised cobblestone, and Snipes lost control, crashing into a building wall at approximately 25 miles per hour. His protective gear prevented serious injury, but he suffered bruised ribs, a sprained wrist, and severe road rash. Production shut down for 3 days while Snipes recovered. The incident triggered an insurance review. Underwriters examined what happened and determined that allowing leading actors to perform motorcycle stunts posed unacceptable risks to the productions. Snipes' injuries were minor, but could have been catastrophic. A broken bone or concussion would have shut down Blade 2 for weeks, costing millions. Insurance companies issued new policy requirements that led actors to ride motorcycles only at walking speed or in completely controlled environments. Any dynamic riding requires professional stunt doubles. The restrictions frustrated Snipes, who'd been proud of doing his own riding. Subsequent action stars faced the same limitations. Tom Cruise famously fought similar restrictions on Mission Impossible films. The insurance industry's position remained firm, protecting multi-million-dollar productions from actor injuries trumped authenticity concerns. Blade 2's remaining motorcycle sequences used Jean-Pierre Goy almost exclusively, with Wesley Snipes limited to close-ups on stationary bikes. Number 14. The digital enhancement percentage. Approximately 65% of motorcycle shots in the Blade trilogy were digitally enhanced, or completely CGI, far more than audiences realized while watching the supposedly practical action sequences. The Buell X1. Lightning was real, and Wesley Snipes could ride it, but the limitations of practical filming meant that visual effects carried most of the motorcycle sequences. Simple shots showing the bike parked or riding straight were practical. Anything dynamic involved digital work. Visual Effects Supervisor Amalgamated Dynamics created a complete CGI motorcycle model for the first film, intending to use it sparingly. They ended up using it extensively. The bike jumping between buildings, completely digital. The high-speed chase weaving through traffic, CGI bike composited into real backgrounds. Even shots that looked practical often had digital enhancements. They'd film the real bike, then digitally increase its speed, add motion blur, or alter its position in frame. Blade 2 increased the use of digital work to approximately 70% of motorcycle shots. Director Guillermo del Toro wanted spectacular stunts that were impossible to achieve in practice. The sewer chase sequence was almost entirely CGI, with only establishing shots using the real Buell. Blade Trinity reduced digital work slightly to about 60%, partly because the budget constraints limited the use of expensive visual effects. Modern audiences watching the trilogy on high-definition displays can often spot the CGI, noticing how the bike's lighting doesn't quite match the environment, or how physics seems slightly off during jumps. The digital work was cutting-edge for the early 2000s, but hasn't aged as well as practical stunts would have. Production never publicly discussed the heavy visual effects, preferring audiences believe they were watching Wesley Snipes actually performing impossible motorcycle stunts. Number 13. The exhaust sound design. The Buell's exhaust note was completely replaced with a synthesized sound that mixed recordings from 7 different motorcycles, a fighter jet, and a lion's roar to create Blade's signature aggressive soundtrack. Sound designer John Taylor felt the actual Buell sounded too refined and civilized for a vampire hunter. The stock exhaust produced a pleasant but unremarkable rumble, Taylor wanted something that sounded predatory and dangerous. He started with recordings from a Ducati 996 for its aggressive mechanical snarl, added a Harley-Davidson Veffy rod for deeper bass frequencies, layered in a Suzuki Hayabusa for high RPM scream, included a custom chopper with straight pipes for raw, unfiltered exhaust bark, mixed in a dirt bike for an acceleration punch, added a vintage Vincent for a unique character, even included a Yamaha R1 for synthetic edge. These 7 motorcycles created the foundation, but Taylor felt it still lacked visceral impact. He added low-frequency rumble from an F-14 fighter jet's afterburner. The jet sound gave weight and power human ears associate with dangerous machinery. Finally, he added a processed lion roar at subsonic frequencies below conscious hearing to create psychological unease. The composite sound suggested something alive and predatory rather than just mechanical. Different mixes were created for different scenes. Idle sounds emphasized the Harley's rumble. Acceleration brought in the sport bike scream. High-speed cruising used the jet rumble. Taylor spent 8 weeks perfecting Blade's motorcycle sound, treating it as important as the film's musical score. The sound became so iconic that fan-made Blade videos invariably use similar aggressive motorcycle sounds, regardless of what bike is actually shown. Number 12. The replica market failure. Unlike other iconic movie motorcycles, Blade's Buell inspired almost no commercial replica market, with custom shops reporting 0 customer requests for Blade-style builds despite the trilogy's success. Most famous movie motorcycles generate replica demand. Shops build Captain America choppers, Akira bikes, and Tron light cycles for paying customers. Blade's bike generated nothing. Custom builder Arlen Ness, who specialized in movie-inspired motorcycles, attempted a Blade Buell replica as a speculative project in 2003. He invested approximately $25,000, creating a screen-accurate version with functional weapon props and perfect paint matching. He displayed it at motorcycle shows, expecting customer interest and orders. Nobody cared. No customer requested a Blade bike. Ness eventually sold the replica at cost just to recover his investment. Industry analysis suggested several factors had killed interest in replicas. First, Buell was never a popular brand. Harley enthusiasts rejected them as not real Harleys. Sport bike riders considered them underpowered compared to Japanese bikes. Buell occupied an awkward middle ground appealing to nobody. Second, the all-black aesthetic was boring. Unlike colorful bikes from other films, Blade's bike offered no visual excitement. Third, the vampire hunting theme was too niche. Most motorcycle enthusiasts weren't comic book fans. Finally, the weapon systems that made the bike interesting on screen were illegal in reality. Without functional weapons, replica bikes were just boring black Buells. The complete absence of the replica market demonstrated that cool on screen doesn't automatically translate to cool in reality. That's number 11, the Prague, Cobblestone, Nightmare.
And I think that the sequel, in almost every way, tops what we did in the first one.
Filming motorcycle sequences on Prague's historic cobblestone streets destroyed suspension components so rapidly that production employed 2 full-time mechanics doing nothing but replacing shocks and springs. Prague's Old Town features beautiful medieval cobblestones that look spectacular on camera, but are hellish for motorcycles. The stones are uneven, the gaps between them cause constant jarring, and the surface offers poor traction. The Buell X, one Lightning sport-tuned suspension, was designed for smooth pavement, not 14th century cobblestones. Every minute of riding inflicted punishment equivalent to hours of normal use. The suspension bushings would compress and deform. Shock seals would leak from constant impact. Springs would fatigue and lose tension. Production discovered this problem on the first day of filming in Prague. After 4 hours of riding, the primary stunt bike's rear suspension had completely failed, bottoming out on every bump. Mechanics inspected it and were shocked by the damage. They replaced the rear shock, and it failed again within 2 hours. The production team hired 2 additional mechanics from a local Harley-Davidson dealer, assigning them exclusively to suspension maintenance. They worked in shifts, rebuilding suspension components every evening, so bikes were ready for the next day's filming. They went through 14 complete shock replacements and countless spring swaps. The mechanics suggested abandoning Prague locations for somewhere with better roads. Director Guillermo del Toro refused, loving Prague's Gothic architecture too much to sacrifice it for mechanical convenience. The cobblestone nightmare added approximately $30,000 in unexpected suspension repairs to Blade 2's budget. Number 10. The black chrome finish cost.
You know, not a lot of guys buying chrome anymore.
The bike's signature black chrome finish was achieved through a specialized coating process that cost $8,000 per motorcycle, far exceeding typical paint job expenses. Standard chrome plating involves a bright silver finish, but Blade's aesthetic required a dark, sinister appearance. Production explored powder coating and paint, but nothing captured the reflective quality of chrome while maintaining a deep black color. Yes, they discovered physical vapor deposition, an aerospace coating technology creating black chrome through molecular bonding. The EVD coating was expensive and time-consuming, requiring the complete disassembly of every chrome component. Each piece was placed in a vacuum chamber where vaporized metal created a uniform black chrome layer. The process took 3 days per bike and cost $8,000. Across 11 bikes, that totaled $88,000 just for the black chrome finish. The expense seemed insane until dailies revealed how spectacular it looked on camera. The black chrome had depth and dimensionality that paint couldn't match, appearing almost liquid under set lighting. The finish became so iconic that aftermarket companies developed cheaper black chrome alternatives for custom builders, directly inspired by Blade's bikes. Number 9. The Headlight modification.
In this design, I completely built all of this from scratch.
The Buell stock headlight was replaced with a custom dual projector system designed to look menacing while providing adequate illumination for night filming. Production designer Kirk Petruccelli hated the Buell's friendly round headlight, feeling it contradicted Blade's aggressive character. He designed angular twin projectors resembling predatory eyes. Each projector used HID bulbs producing intense white light, perfect for filming, but illegal for street use. The custom headlight housing was CNC, machined from aluminum and then black chromed to match the bike's finish. Fabrication costs $3,000 per bike. The twin projectors created practical lighting for night scenes while looking appropriately threatening. However, they produced excessive glare that caused problems during filming. Camera operators complained about lens flare when shooting toward the bike. Cinematographer Theo van de Sande had to carefully position lights and flags to control the headlight's intensity. The modification also affected weight distribution, adding 5 pounds to the front end and making the already nose-heavy Buell even more unbalanced. Stunt riders adapted but preferred the stock configuration. Number 8. The seat discomfort issue.
So I called up Cosworth, and what I said is, they said, well, how are you going to design this? I said, a BDG Cosworth.
Wesley Snipes complained constantly about the Buell's uncomfortable seat during filming, leading to custom seat fabrication that improved comfort but ruined the bike's aggressive profile. The stock Buell seat was thin and firm, designed for aggressive sport riding positions, not extended filming sessions. Snipes would ride for hours during takes and between setups, developing severe discomfort. He requested a seat modification for better padding. Prop master John Hardigan fabricated a custom seat with thick gel paddings and ergonomic shaping. Snipes loved it, but director Stephen Norrington hated how it looked. The thicker seat raised Snipes' riding position, making him appear less aggressive and dominant. It also looked bulky and awkward on camera, contradicting the bike's sleek aesthetic. They compromised with 2 seats, the comfortable version for long riding days and the stock seat for close-up beauty shots. This meant constantly swapping seats depending on shot requirements. The continuity nightmare required meticulous tracking of which seat appeared in which scenes. Several shots show noticeable seat height differences eagle-eyed fans spotted. And number 7, the Buell bankruptcy connection.
So it is a very emotional time for me right now, as I have to announce that the decision has been made.
Harley-Davidson shut down Buell motorcycles in 2009, partly because models like the X1 Lightning failed to generate sustainable sales, despite high-profile appearances like Blade. Buell founder Eric Buell created innovative American sport bikes that challenged Japanese dominance. Harley-Davidson bought a controlling interest in 1998, hoping to capture younger riders. The strategy failed. Traditional Harley customers rejected sport bikes, while sport bike enthusiasts distrusted the Harley Association. Blade's product placement was meant to help showcase Buell's performance and cool factor. It didn't translate to showroom traffic. Dealers reported 0 sales increases attributable to the Blade trilogy. Buell struggled financially throughout the 2000s. By 2009, during the economic recession, Harley-Davidson decided to cut losses and shut down the entire Buell brand. Eric Buell was devastated as he watched his life's work dissolve for corporate profit. Blade's bike became an free fact of a defunct company, adding melancholy to its legacy. Collectors now seek X1 Lightning specifically because production ended, making them increasingly rare and valuable, ironically. Number 6. The wirework integration.
At home, you're serious about what you're doing. You may be really stupid about it.
The bike's most spectacular stunts combined wirework with motorcycle riding, creating dangerous hybrid stunts that required unprecedented coordination between the motorcycle and wire teams. Traditional wirework suspends actors from cables for flying or falling effects. Blade 2 included sequences where the bike needed to jump impossible distances while Blade fought vampires mid-air. This required suspending both rider and motorcycle from cables, while maintaining the illusion of natural physics. Stunt coordinator Jeff Haberstad designed a harness system attaching to both Jean-Pierre Goy and the Buell's frame. High-tension cables lifted the entire rig rider and a 500-pound motorcycle through programmed flight paths. The danger was extraordinary. Cable failure would drop the bike and rider from 30 feet. Incorrect timing could cause the motorcycle to hit walls or other obstacles. Goy performed these stunts with remarkable courage, trusting cable operators and mechanical systems completely. The wire-assisted jumps created Blade's most memorable motorcycle moments, looking physically impossible because they were. The technique influenced subsequent superhero films, establishing wire motorcycle integration as a viable stunt methodology. Number 5. The auction disappointment.
Hello and welcome to a room that's full of motorbikes. Lots of motorbikes.
The one surviving Blade motorcycle sold at auction in 2015 for only $48,000, far below the estimated $150,000, revealing how little value movie provenance adds without proper documentation. The bike was supposedly the hero bike from the first film, though documentation was incomplete. Auction house profiles and history promoted it heavily, expecting strong bidding from Blade fans and motorcycle collectors. Pre-auction estimates range from $150,000 to $200,000 based on the film's cult status. Bidding opened at $25,000 and climbed slowly. Interest was tepid. The hammer fell at $48,000 plus buyer's premium, totaling $56,000. The disappointing sell revealed several problems. First, incomplete provenance made buyers skeptical. Second, Buell's bankruptcy made parts and service difficult to obtain. Third, the bike was heavily modified and not street legal. Fourth, the Blade trilogy had aged poorly in cultural relevance. The low price shocked the seller who'd stored the bike carefully for years, expecting a significant return. Number 4. The Vampire Blood Hydraulic Fluid. Production used theatrical blood as a hydraulic fluid substitute in scenes where the bike's systems were damaged, creating the disturbing visual of vampire's blood leaking from Blade's wounded motorcycle. Director Guillermo del Toro loved visual metaphors connecting Blade and his tools. In Blade 2, sequences showed the motorcycle damaged during fights, with red fluid leaking from punctured lines. Del Toro specified using vampire blood as a theatrical effect, rather than standard hydraulic fluid. The prop master created a mixture matching the vampire blood's established appearance in previous scenes. The viscous red liquid looked disturbingly organic rather than mechanical as it dripped from the bike. This subtle detail suggested the motorcycle was alive, wounded like any vampire Blade destroyed. Most viewers never consciously noticed, but subconsciously registered the unsettling imagery. The effect required careful planning. Theatrical blood damaged real mechanical components, so they used sacrificial stunt bikes for these shots. After filming, the blood mixture corroded the aluminum components and permanently stained the chrome. Bikes used for blood effects couldn't be restored and were scrapped rather than preserved. Number 3. The musical score, synchronization composer Marco Beltrami
to worry about subtlety.
wrote specific musical themes synchronized to the Buell's engine rhythm, creating a subconscious connection between the motorcycle and Blade's hunting nature. Beltrami analyzed recordings of the bike's exhaust note, identifying its rhythmic patterns and frequencies. He incorporated these elements into Blade's action themes, matching orchestral percussion to engine firing patterns. The V-twins' distinctive rhythm became a musical motif appearing throughout the score. During motorcycle sequences, the music and engine sounds blended seamlessly, creating a unified sonic landscape that felt organic rather than a separated soundtrack and sound effects. This sophisticated sound design technique was pioneering for 2000 films. Modern audiences take such integration for granted, but Blade established the methodology. Beltrami's approach influenced subsequent action film composers, who began treating vehicle sounds as musical elements rather than as separate audio tracks. The synchronization was so subtle that viewers experienced it emotionally without recognizing the technical achievement. The motorcycle felt alive and purposeful, partly because its mechanical rhythms drove the musical score supporting every scene. Given number 2, the CGI Blade controversy.
Started putting some ideas and themes together, and then I met with Guillermo. He came over to my studio and played them.
Blade Trinity faced backlash when behind-the-scenes footage revealed Wesley Snipes' face was digitally replaced onto stunt riders for most motorcycle sequences, contradicting marketing claims about practical stunts. The film's promotional campaign emphasized real action and minimal CGI. Interviews showed Snipes discussing his motorcycle training. Marketing suggested audiences would see Wesley Snipes actually performing dangerous riding. The truth was different. The visual effects team scanned Snipes' face during pre-production, creating a digital model they could map onto stunt performers. Jean-Pierre Goy performed nearly all motorcycle riding while wearing a generic helmet. In post-production, visual effects artists replaced Goy's head with digital Wesley Snipes. The technique was seamless, but dishonest marketing-wise. When DVD bonus features revealed the process, fans felt betrayed. They'd believed marketing claims about practical authenticity. The controversy damaged Blade Trinity's reception and contributed to the franchise's ending. Modern audiences accept digital face replacement as standard practice, but in 2004, it felt like deception. The backlash influenced how studios market action films, leading to a more careful distinction between practical stunts and digital effects. Number 1, the replica builder's superior version.
I was non-weight bearing for 3 years, and at that time I was 15, and when you're 16 you turn pro, so all my friends turned pro.
A California custom builder created a Blade replica bike with functional weapon systems that worked better than the original film props, selling it for more than the authentic movie bike fetched at auction. Master fabricator Jesse Rook spent 18 months building a screen, accurate Blade Buell with actually functional weapon systems. His stake launcher used compressed air to fire wooden stakes accurately at 20 feet. The retractable guns were airsoft weapons that could actually fire. The UV lights were high-powered LEDs, bright enough to cause temporary blindness. The blade storage is deployed via electronic actuators rather than manual cable pulls. Every system worked reliably and looked more finished than the film props. Rook documented the build on YouTube, generating massive interest. A collector offered him $95,000, nearly double what the authentic movie bike sold for. The sale demonstrated that fans valued functionality over authenticity. A working replica built by a skilled craftsman was worth more than non-functional film prop. Rook's success spawned imitators who built their own functional blade bikes, creating a small cottage industry that never existed for stock replicas. Blade's modified Buell wasn't a Harley-Davidson at all, but rather a deception disguised as black chrome and vampire hunting mythology. From destroyed suspensions to digital faces, from bankruptcy to superior replicas, the truth behind this vampire-slaying machine proves that sometimes Hollywood's darkest secrets hide beneath the shiniest surfaces, waiting for daylight to expose them.